Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shining Light video podcast show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael Esposito, the host of the show and an insurance agent specializing in business and personal insurance. I'll introduce my guests in a few moments, but first, I would like to acknowledge what's happening in our society today. My show is a platform to promote the amazing people in our communities, and it will continue to do so, to shine a light on the positive people and the actions they take to help each other. Therefore, I would like to highlight several communities and their positive actions that they're taking today. From my knowledge, Middletown, New Paltz, and Poughkeepsie all had peaceful, nonviolent protests. Organizers met with city, county, and town officials in order to make all of this possible. They made it very clear that this was to be peaceful and nonviolent, and they accomplished their mission. This show will continue to shine a light on the positive, amazing people in all of our communities, no matter their race, gender, religion, politics, or any other perceived differences that are perceived to separate us. Today's sponsor is the Mindful Living Coaching Program. In this program, Matt Alfonso helps you gain clarity, live present, and improve your self-love. This program is designed to help you shift your mindset and make lasting changes. Please message at MattAlfonso1 on Instagram and use the promo code SHININGLIGHT to receive a special discount. That's at MattAlfonso, the number 1 on Instagram. This show has also been sponsored by HV Gold Rewards, the largest Facebook business networking group in the Hudson Valley, helping you shop local at a discount. Visit hvgoldrewards.com to buy your $10 discount card. Enter promo code FCH and HV Gold Rewards will donate $8 towards our fundraiser. Without further ado, I think I see our guest here in the chat. I'm going to bring him in and welcome him in 2 seconds. And here he is right now, and we'll give him a proper introduction. I want to thank all of you here in the chat. I see everybody. Hello to everyone there. What's up, Darren? How are you?
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to have you on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Very good. Hang on. Let me just fix your audio level. I just need to raise it a little bit so I could hear you a little bit better, and then I'm going to give you a proper introduction. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael Esposito, the host of the show and an insurance agent specializing in business and personal insurance. I'm always interested in the moment when lives somehow accidentally cross. I think sometimes those accidental meetings can be small miracles. They can really change one's perspective on that moment and on life. Saskia de Brauw, what accidental miracle happened to you? Let us know in the comments. My guest today accidentally fell into what has become a passion and a career. He's Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics, and he'll share how vinyl wrapping your car, boat, signs, or anything you can think of has become a career and all due to an accidental miracle. Welcome, Darren.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So Darren, obviously you're the owner of DB Graphics, where you vinyl wrap just about anything, but this wasn't always your lifelong dream. Could you share with us what you had envisioned as your dream and how you accidentally fell into what you're truly passionate about today?
Sure. So, obviously coming out of high school, like most kids, no one knows what they want to do. They'll start a community school or choose a college to go to. I chose to go to Dutchess Community College. Didn't last long. I was really into my art classes and whatnot, and tended not to go to my, my health classes and social studies and all that stuff. So Darren got a little notice that he got kicked out of Dutchess because of his GPA, which, hey, it is what it is. Loved my art stuff, but just couldn't make it to the other stuff. So while I was there for that short time, had a couple great teachers that I really looked up to. And I learned a lot of processes while I was there. One was like a lead transfer process. It was a special film you would use to transfer. I was always into art and drawing and whatnot. So I would draw my graphics and transfer it onto whatever medium it was. So had my first car, thought cool, going to school, wanted to put the bands I listened to on the car. So I went to the local hobby store and bought some airplane sticker vinyl. So the backing paper is white. I would sit there and draw up my transfer paper and the names of all the bands, and I'd make stickers and put them on my car. So, so this rolled into all my friends. Hey, can I get one of these? Can I get one of those? And this is kind of like the accident that roll. I mean, this was going on for, I was 18 at the time. So this went on for, 5 years. I mean, we had a car club together with all my friends, and I would be doing all the decals on them and all the striping and, and whatnot. So finally I was 23 years old. I had a great job, benefits, the whole nine. And I decided to, you know what, today's the day. I couldn't move up anymore in that company. It was a lighting company, did stage lighting. And I moved up as much as I could, reached a point, couldn't go any further. So I said, today's the day. I'm gonna start my business and see where it goes. So put my notice in. And then luckily I was still living at home. So I started my company at 23 and really didn't make any money for the first year, but was just super passionate about what I was doing. So it started just skyrocketing from there. Once the car scene started getting really big with the imports back in the day, the Fast and Furious movie came out, which honestly was like a huge kicker for me because all the graphics were huge during that time with the imports. So I started doing a ton of that, which rolled into everything else. Oh, can you make a sign? Can you do this? And a lot of my friends I was dealing with at the time obviously were my same age. So as they got older, they would open businesses, or whether they would need a truck lettered, and we had that connection from the beginning. So I also believe that timing was a huge factor too, because it was the right time. It happened to be very popular at the time. So that's really how all this came to be.
Wow.
So that's how the accident happened. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's a God.
And as far as the rolling into the rest of the business, I was always a worker. As a kid with my dad would wake me up early on the weekends, and I'd help him with construction work and this and that. Just love hands-on, love working. So once I got into this niche, started my own thing. Now you have a reason to really get up and put 100%, 110% in all the time to try and get some kind of a positive outcome, which thank goodness, we did. And that was the start, 21 years ago now. So it's really cool. It's a great feeling.
That is a really, really cool story. I was anxiously waiting to find out, because when we spoke, obviously we spoke a little bit about it, and I said, you know what, hold off. I'd rather hear it live, and that's pretty cool. And there's a lot there to kind of get into and speak about. One of the things I want to go right back to the very beginning in terms of your going to Dutchess Community College and obviously having some trouble in school. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think a lot of people experience this, especially hands-on type of workers, artistic people especially, they experience this. Could you share with us that moment where you really understood that maybe school wasn't right for you and that you needed to move forward with what you want? I understand that you started seeing your passion through these great teachers and everything, but could you explain maybe that moment, bring us back to that moment where you said, you know what, I think I got something else going on here?
Yeah. Again, doing the art classes, I connected with my teachers. Obviously they were artists and whatnot. And they were like, more like became friends because, they didn't push that. They didn't push like a typical teacher on you. They were kind of like, hey, listen, if you need to go home and just chill out and relax and, let your mind go somewhere, sit by water or whatever, and just do your thing. You know what I mean? They were just really laid back, where, a lot of your other teachers with certain projects or a paper need to be written, they would stay on you. It was very, I never did well in school. I always went to school. I never really missed a day. But I just had a problem absorbing things. So, and to this day, it's like, I don't like to read books or anything, but if I'm passionate about something in this field, or which we'll probably discuss later, my hobby of cars, I'll sit and read it. Beyond that, my attention span it's just not there. So right. Going to, again, like the standard health classes and stuff like that in college was just like, I went through this in school. I struggled through it in school. I don't want to do it again in college. So I just kind of lost interest. I went home and I spoke to my parents and I said, listen, I don't want to waste your money. School's not for me. And they knew that, growing up. And 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 they were 100% supportive of it. So they didn't get mad, they didn't push me. They just said, hey, do your thing. They supported me the entire time, and and I'm thankful for that. So.
Right. Yeah. And so the message to me that I'm getting from there is any parent out there, or teacher, or even student who's listening right now is really they allowed you the space, the time to be able to develop and learn what it is that you needed. Is that, the pace of school, of getting things done right away wasn't for you. And that, especially with what we're talking about right now, is that you needed that space and that time to really truly develop into what you wanted and the passion that you found, which is really, really cool.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, and the other thing too is as and now I'm a parent, but as a parent, the pressure of pushing, you can't, you got to let your child or whoever, you got to let them just do sometimes you got to hit the bottom, you know what I mean? To make yourself, to come back to the top, you got to hit those lows and experience everything so that it makes life more realistic. You're going to hit speed bumps here, and no matter what you do. So for me, they only made me stronger, so and to have the support of my parents and family, whatever, was fantastic. It was never like, you got to get back to school, you got to do this. And that was huge for me.
So before we get into some of those speed bumps, I kind of want to get into now at 23 years old, you start this business of your own and maybe some of the challenges and then obviously some of the triumphs that came with that. But first, this is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics in Poughkeepsie, New York, and he's able to help you vinyl anything you want, basically from your cars to your boats to signage to pretty much anything you could get vinyl on, and he'll be happy to help you. And Darren started this business when he was 23 years old. And when I think of myself, Darren, as a 23-year-old, I'm not thinking of starting a business. I'm thinking about going out with my friends and having a beer, right? So tell me about that moment now. You went through school, you figured out your passion, you're kind of getting word of mouth, little side jobs here and there. And then you say, you know what? I'm going to make this official. Tell us about that moment and what that, you said that first year you didn't make any money, what that first year was like, and then obviously the triumphs that came after.
So let's jump back to being young and partying, right? So of course we all had our friends and our crews, and we'd hang out, and again, which we'll touch on later, a lot of friends in my car club and stuff, and we were always together, and we'd always go out partying. Of course, you're young, you go to the bars, you go to the beaches, you hang out, and so my friends would always bust my chops because I knew my limit. And when they get crazy stuff happens. So I always I
know some of your friends. I know.
Exactly. So you always want to make sure you don't make the newspaper with your name in it, right, for the bad reasons, Right. So I always got made fun of by my friends, like, how do you always just know when to stop? And I says, listen, I'm a business owner now. My name can't show up in the newspaper as being something stupid and foolish and whatever. So to this day, my friends still bring it up. They're like, I don't know how you did it. It's amazing, this far along. So I always had it in me. It was just super important that it took me, I would say, a solid 8 to 10 years to really focus on my business too, to get it where I wanted to be. So, in doing that, it was cutting back with hanging, till 2, 3 in the morning and making sure I got my rest to get up. If I told someone I'll be there 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm there 8 o'clock in the morning, it was even at a young age. I mean, that was instilled to me, by my parents. So something I always fell back on. And my mother always bothered me about, when are you going to settle down, this, that, and the other thing. And I said, when my business is where I want it to be, which was in my early 30s, amazing things happened. I met my wife at 32. So I was ready to settle down and that was that, it's awesome. When the time is right, I really feel like, things will happen. You can't push it,
Right. And for you, the time was right because, as you mentioned, as you're starting your business, Fast and the Furious movies come out, and we all saw the big rush of all the Honda Civics and all those different types of Euro cars come out. And what Fast and Furious did is that they started showcasing these cars with these awesome graphics on them, which is really what, like you said earlier in our conversation here, is what catapulted your business. Yes. So obviously, that could have been, kind of like the snap of a finger. You do a couple of those cars and then day is done. How did you build on that moment? How did you build on that moment to be able to propel yourself into where you are today?
I think it was, it's my dedication, craftsmanship, which was my business has been a tremendous word of mouth referral business. My only forms really of advertising are as of late the social media within the past few years. But prior to that, I didn't really do anything. It was all word of mouth and referrals. And again, a lot of my friends having businesses and whatnot. So, my whole thing too is I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go out and I want to hit a home run on every job. I'm really here because I'm passionate about what I do and I want other businesses to grow with me. I don't want to, a guy comes in and wants his vehicle wrapped, charge him $5,000 to make money on the job. I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. The design's got to be right. If someone even comes in and wants a full wrap, I will sometimes talk him out of it. So you don't need to spend the money on the full wrap. Do a partial wrap or do some spot graphics on it. Again, it's not for the money for me. It's the passion. I want the companies to grow, and then we all grow together. I mean, you got to be a network with businesses,
right.
Community. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I'm sure if you talk to any of my customers, they'll tell you that. I become friends with them before they're my customer. That's my biggest thing. They're always come in here. They're always welcome. They're warm. They want to hang out, essentially, and it's cool. I like to have that relationship with everyone. You can't please everyone. It's just normal, I'm not perfect. So, sometimes I forget stuff, but when your phone's ringing, 30, 40 times a day, emails coming through like, please, your phone's texting, you're going to forget some stuff, My employees make fun of me for my yellow sticky pads all over my desk, but without that, things.
I know.
So, but that's it. I mean, it's being honest and respectful. Respect is a huge thing for me. Growing up as a kid, being respectful of everyone. So that's kind of how I live and how I grew the company too.
Yeah, and in your company, it's what's really nice about your kind of job is that everybody sees your work. When you're vinyl wrapping a car and you do an amazing job on it, that word of mouth is kind of driving all over Route 9 and anywhere else in the state, right?
Sure. I mean, it's a rolling billboard. It's the best form of advertising. You're going to spend, again, let's jump back to, let's say, $4,000 to wrap a van.
Right.
That $4,000, think about how you could spend $4,000 in marketing quickly, right? So now we're putting it on a rolling billboard that's maybe you go to Connecticut, maybe you go to Jersey, maybe you go wherever, all over New York State. You put a billboard up for, $500 a month for 3 months, the same people are passing it every day. With this rolling billboard, you're going everywhere and you can't get that kind of marketing. I mean, sure, some social media, but as far as seeing a visual, passing something like, wow, that's really cool. You know what I mean? And that type of marketing is killer. For the I always think for the price you pay versus what you're getting, there's no marketing like it, really.
Right. And I have to ask you about, of course, your hobby, because I was witness to the start of one of your vehicles that you built from scratch. And I want to get into that in 1 second. But first, this is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics in Poughkeepsie, New York, and he'll pretty much vinyl wrap anything that you want him to do. And we spoke a little bit about how this became his passion from doing arts and pretty much art in school and being able to start making little stickers of bands and everything and putting them on his car, and then friends wanting these decals, and then roll this into a business. And what we spoke about is that he didn't just turn this into a business. It was through passion and through hard work. And anybody who's listening to this needs to understand that, of course, that when you're starting something, it doesn't just happen. It happens from passion and through hard work and dedication. And that's the kind of work that Darren puts into every single job that he gets. And what we're just talking about is how he pretty much wraps these vehicles and they're rolling billboards, and he has to be meticulous and has to do them perfect for his client so that they can spread the word of mouth of what he does. Something else that you do, Darren, is you pretty much, I remember seeing the car over at Colin's house on blocks, just this frame. And then I believe I've been seeing pictures of them on your social media of this like beautiful car now. Could you share with us how that's a passion of yours, and how do you just build a car from a frame up, kind of, for somebody who doesn't know?
So growing up, again, as a little kid, always played with Matchbox cars, and anything like that. I was always into it. Exactly. So my uncle had a '69 Camaro that he bought, when he was 18 years old. Worked hard for that at a grocery store and went out and bought his love. So We did a lot of car shows together. Him and I, he would take me up to Rhinebeck and this and that with my cousin, you know, as a young kid. So I think that I want to say that that's where my passion came from for cars is
Mhm.
going to these car shows, hanging out. I mean, you know, car people in general they're a community in themselves. They're like a family, you know. You get together and nothing else matters, and everyone's got the same passion, so you're always on the same page. So I've had a lot of cars in my life, which my wife will tell you.
Right, right.
So the one that you happened to see was a 1991. It was a Chevy pickup that we had done a frame up restoration on it, and that was a truck that came out in, you know, when I was in high school in the 90s. So the Chevy 454 SS pickup truck came out, and just like
Mhm.
anyone, when you're back in high school, that stuff tends to stick with you. So
Right.
I always liked that body style, and ended up purchasing one and restoring it. And you know, made magazines, made some covers, and ended up selling it at Barrett Jackson auction, which was a really cool experience.
Wow.
And then yeah, and then just the passion for I'm a huge like 50s guy. I love 50s car design. You know, the whole 50s era I think is killer. So I have a bunch of 50s pickups. My wife and I are working on a 54 Chevy, and my dream car my whole life was a 66 Chevelle, which my wife and I purchased a couple of years ago. So that's fun for
Awesome.
the family. You know, I got a little seat in the back for my son, and it's cool. It's fun. I just really enjoy it. It's a way to just get away for a bit. You know, hop in it, maybe pop back in time and go cruising. You know,
Is that the blue car?
that's the blue one. That's the Chevelle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a real,
I
yeah.
actually
I
have it with me today. I drove it today. It's a beautiful day, so why not?
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what's really cool too about your passion is that it started, you know, it's funny how these passions kind of like link together is you're putting stickers on your car because you love your car. And
Right.
that's really what it was kind of all about from what I get from you, right? What was that first car, by the way?
It was a 1986 Nissan Sentra hatchback.
All right, we're not going to bring that one up again.
No,
No,
we're
just
good. We're good.
that's all right. I had an '89 Ford Probe, so
Hey,
we all
well,
had
hey,
we
at
all had
least
to
it's
go through it.
sporty. At least that's sporty. Come on.
Well, thanks for sharing all that. This
Sure.
is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics in Poughkeepsie, New York, and he'll wrap pretty much just about anything. And we're speaking about some of the ways that he got started, which was, you know, the Fast and the Furious movies and just putting decals on cars, all the way to now where he does emergency vehicles, businesses. He puts out really, really cool pictures of some of the business vehicles that he does. And you can see some of these graphics on his social media and on his Instagram. Darren, I want to get into a little bit more about maybe what you see as a positive outcome from this quarantine. Obviously, your business hasn't stopped. And I saw a really cool van, which was also part of our Instagram post for this, of the COVID-19 van. Could you share with us what you think is a positive outcome from this quarantine that we're all experiencing today?
Um, it just in general, as a whole, I'm not even linked to my business. I think that, uh, well, I'm hoping that, I mean, right now it's hard to tell with this crazy rioting going on and all these crazy protests, but in general, as a whole, I think that, or I hope that we see something, you know, where we kind of go back to the way things were years ago. It was nice when the quarantine first started and you go out and you see families out playing, you know, like when we were growing up, you know, we had no choice but to go outside and play. And we didn't, you know, we didn't get to sit inside and play video games or link up with someone in another country or whatever, right? We were playing Atari, right? Until we broke our joysticks. But I mean, I hope that it kind of goes back to uh, some like it was back in the day. I mean, just this morning I filled up the car and on the way in, and you know, the woman at the gas pump was like, "Hey, good morning, how you doing?" And when we were done, you know, have a nice day. Like, you know, that wouldn't happen in the past 10 years. It's just hope you hope that we can kind of go back to something like that. As again, as much as negativity that's going on now, hopefully in the bigger picture, it'll end up uniting all of us. I hope.
Mhm.
You can only, you know, pray that it'll happen, but I think more positive will come out of this than negative.
Yeah.
You know, and on the business side of it, I feel like it's going to get for what I do. I feel like I'm going to be busier this year than before because you know, a lot of these companies were cooped up and couldn't work, and until as these spaces open,
Mhm.
um, And like you said, I was busy, thank goodness, through the whole process. But as these businesses start opening, they're going to need, trucks lettered and signs posted and the whole nine. So,
Right.
we're normally like 3 to 4 weeks out when we're in our normal, mode of business. Right now, we're 2 weeks out. We're just opening phase 2 tomorrow. So, I think it's going to get really busy and it's going to be good for everyone. But that's that's what we can hope for.
Yeah, I like how you said that, pretty much that kind of unifying us. I think that a lot of times when we go through traumatic situations together, even as just individuals, you see brothers of war and things like that, brothers in arms. Very similar is that what's going on between COVID and obviously what else is happening in our society is that hopefully it all unifies us. We see it, we can maybe find a solution to it and start working on some solutions in that aspect. And then of course, coming out of quarantine and working together to be able to as well come together. I really like how you said that. That COVID van that you wrapped, could you share with us real quick a little backstory on that one? Is that what kind of company was that?
Just had a cold stop in from a customer, a gentleman named Ray, super nice guy. He's been in the I guess the construction, flooring kind of industry, cleaning industry for a number of years. I believe he's in his early 60s, so he's got a lot of experience with it. So he started this company, COVID gone, and I believe what he told me was in the early 2000s. I forget which other pandemic. SARS, right? They had created some kind of a cleaning agent for that SARS if it tended to get to the level where we're at today, which it never did. So they had this solution for cleaning restaurants and bars and gyms and the whole nine, offices. So I guess they modified it a bit because he was connected to it back then in the early 2000s. So they modified it a bit to cover this COVID, and he started this company to go in. And I know he has several restaurants in the area that he's been treating, and it's a 3-month process from what he says. So hopefully it gives everybody just a little more comfort. Everywhere I've been, not that I've been to a lot of places, but you could smell the cleaning agents, the bleach, which is, it's a good thing, because the places are being well kept.
Right. So weird.
I really think that people are on it, and they have to be too, to make everyone feel comfortable.
Right. Yeah, I bring. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was a fun project to do. It was something cool, just something you wouldn't think of. And it's kind of like in the moment, like you got to be on it now and move forward. So we had to knock it out quick for him.
Yeah. And I think that's so cool. And I bring that up in this moment right now because I find, that is a positive outcome from this as well, from this quarantine that we're in and the situation that we're in. I had read somewhere, I go between Forbes and Inc. and a couple other entrepreneurial magazines, and it was something about how many millionaires are actually going to come out of this time. Is that when you look at the Great Depression, when you look at these pandemics and all these different moments in history where it stinks for the majority of people, if you could really kind of pivot, change, be able to develop something that is a solution to help people and to move forward, that you could actually do pretty well. And it's not I'm not trying to say to extort or do anything bad in that sense. I'm just saying that if you could find a solution to somebody's problem, which is pretty much what any business is, right? You found a solution to school, right? You could change it into a positive, right?
Well, it's ironic you say that too, because in my line of business, unfortunately, anytime there's any kind of a bad news of, let's just say 9/11. 9/11 happened, and I was in my second year or third year of business, and I had a local fireman come in, and he's like, I want to make a decal honoring the three fields, the EMS, fire, and police. So we created this decal together. Now this decal, I sold thousands and thousands of them. So these things, the truckers would come in and order. They would order 100. They go on the road. These things went across the country. It was crazy to see these decals that we created here, and it was in Hopewell Junction at the time. Went all over the. They could have went all over the world. And then I started seeing, obviously guys were replicating and reproducing. You see them on eBay. This is going back years and years ago. So anytime there's a negative, for me, we try to create some kind of positive out of it. unfortunately, when people, they lose a loved one or whatever, you know, they'll comment, hey, I'd like to get a memorial decal. And you know, I do what I can to help everyone out, cover the cost of material. You know, here's your decals, blah, blah, blah. We do that with a lot of stuff. We get into, we try and donate as much as we can. I do a lot of donations with local schools. My wife's a teacher in Millbrook, and I've donated vinyl to the art department, or, you know, even a bunch of local schools around here. Any leftover scraps we'll donate to whoever. We try to work with, you know, non-for-profits and do as much as we can with the community that, you know, that we're able to do, you know. So, yeah, it's just nice that when there is a negative, we can make a positive out of it. And the one nice thing with 9/11 is with the funds that I made from that, that really was a huge boost to get me to the next level of my business, because I was able to get into a bigger space to be able to serve my customers better as well. So, you know, it's tough because you feel awful on one hand, but at the same time, it's like the people want the product. So, you know,
Well, like we said, you found a solution to kind of what they needed, which I mean, those decals are beautiful. I mean, I see them all the time. I'm from the city, so for me, it was, I mean, I think for our whole country, for everybody, it was an emotional time. But just to see the Twin Towers on the back of somebody's truck is always nice to be reminded of.
Right? It still gets you.
Yeah, of course, of course. So. This is the Shining Light video podcast show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics in Poughkeepsie, New York, and he'll vinyl wrap just about anything. We got into his story on how an accident turned into a passion, making little decals of bands, putting them on friends' cars, Fast and the Furious movie, and then here we are today. He's wrapping huge business cars and other emergency vehicles. And we got into his hobby as well. And what I'd like to speak about is acts of kindness and generosity that you're witnessing in your community. Darren, you obviously do a lot for your community. We just spoke a little bit about how you pretty much donate wherever you can, donating vinyl, donating money to causes that are obviously near and dear to your heart and to your home. Could you share with us, to provide a little bit of hope in our society today, any acts of kindness and generosity that you're witnessing in your local community?
You know, again, I see, it's just in people in general. I mean, just around our neighborhoods. I mean, you see a lot of something simple as a lot of people walking now. We live in almost like a horseshoe road where we are, and you're seeing neighbors you've never seen, you know, the entire time you live there, and everyone's waving and everyone's talking and giving you a story and doing their social distancing. But it's like, again, it's almost going back to before. It's like a breath of fresh air that hopefully this is the route we could stay on, you know, and even my customers coming here, you know, honoring our distancing thing and our mask thing, and everyone's been so patient, and because of course I was limited for a while. I had to lay some of my staff off for a bit during everything, but everyone, I have the greatest customers, hands down. I always say it. They're super patient. They understand me and my process. I take a little bit longer sometimes, but you're gonna, you know, it's worth it, because I'm gonna go the extra 2 steps, you know, to give you what I feel that you need, and also what you're looking for. But I'm also gonna give you my feedback on it as well. And again, because when you're doing something, there's things that I see that others don't see, and vice versa. So it's nice to sit down and work with the customer. And again, going back to their patience, it's huge, you know. So it's we have a long way out of this still, but I think that it's going to be a long, slow process that's going to be positive. Let's just put it like that.
Right. Yeah, and I think too is that, you know, you're an artist first. I mean, we established that obviously, and an artist take time. You're an artist. You personalize every single one of these graphics to your client. We don't see the same thing over and over again. Of course, you have the decals or whatever, but when you're coming up with a graphic for somebody, this is personalized to them, and so you're going to spend some time.
And that's a big part of it too. Is the whole process of, let's say you come in and you want to get your, you know, you want to brand yourself for what you're doing in your company and whatnot. So, you know, when you come in, we'll have a meeting together just with discussions. I'll send you proofs and whatnot, and then we do the job, and you pick up your vehicle and you see the final product. Nobody sees the 6, 8, 10 hours that goes into it on our end, on the computer, the designs, the digging deep to give you one-off kind of stuff, whatever's in our heads at the time, you know. Because, you know, we have multiple designers here as well. So, in also in validating numbers as far as, when I say $4,000 to wrap a van, sure, it's a lot of material, it's a lot of labor, but it's also a full day in creating something one-off for you. So, and that's the part that people don't get to see. So
Right.
in the future, I'm hoping to try and do something where I can show the process somehow. It's going to be very difficult, but I do want to show stages so people get an understanding of it as well.
Right. Kind of like American Choppers for graphics, right?
Well, yeah, we don't want to get that crazy, but I
Don't
don't
get
want to
that.
be arguing with everyone here.
Right. I want to highlight what you mentioned there in terms of the question of acts of kindness and generosity, and I really want to highlight it because it's really the little things that we lose track of sometimes. And as you said earlier in our conversation of the woman at the gas station just saying hello to you, and people walking in your neighborhood just saying hi and waving, these little acts of kindness means so much to somebody in their day. You never know what somebody's experiencing, especially somebody who might have a sad face on or somebody who's angry. You don't know what they're facing. And if you could just smile at them and say hi to them, it goes such a long way. So I'm so glad you brought it up.
My wife and I say it all the time is you never know what someone's going through, we've experienced tremendous loss and you never know, like, someone's mother just died of cancer or this and that. You just don't know. So a simple, like this morning, a simple good morning, that can make your day or make that or really help lift that person up. You know what I mean? It's everyone's, I always say to my wife too, everyone's always got it worse than us. There's something, someone's got it worse than someone else. And you just can't, we're all guilty of being judgmental. It's just how people are. But you also got to take a step back and be like, what's this person? Maybe someone just lost someone from COVID. You just don't know it. And they're in that raging state because their mind isn't there. You just got to,
Yeah, and giving that little bit of positivity, I'm going to give you a little example of what you did for me, and you may not know you did it, but I remember when my wife and we were just about to get married. We were, I think, only weeks away from our wedding date, and I ran into you and your wife. You were leaving a restaurant that we were coming into, and we said we were getting married. You guys said congratulations, everything, and you said, just 1 second, there's something we want to share with you. We did a private cocktail hour at our wedding, and it was the best thing we could have done. But we just recommend it to you if it's something that you haven't put in plan yet. And we hadn't had a plan for it. We sat down, we talked about it, and we did it. And we, to this day, anybody who gets married, recommend that to every single person that gets married, because that was, you and your wife had said that to us of like, you're going to be running around for pictures, you're going to be doing this, this, and that, and you don't have time for each other. Make sure that you just set aside the private cocktail hour. It was the best decision we made. And we did that, and it was the best decision we made. So even those little tidbits, add so much.
I didn't know that, and you're very welcome. So I'm just upset I wasn't invited. But no, that's awesome. That's great. I'm just busting your chops.
I know. Yeah, it is. That was fun. But this is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I have to let Darren get back to his job and to creating beautiful art where he vinyl wraps people's vehicles, emergency vehicles, boats, and everything. But first, I have to ask you, Darren, there's got to be one place in your community that you're missing so much right now that you can't wait to get back to once this quarantine is over. So what's that one place?
Well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or be selfish, but my wife and I love our trips to Saratoga. So we had to cancel obviously this year, but we're going to make it back there. We can't wait. It's always our getaway.
Cool.
Since our wedding, to be honest, our bridal party bought us a gift card to a place in Saratoga, and we've gone 1 to 2 times every year. We've gone there since we've been married, so we always look forward to that. It's our nice little
Saratoga. And so what's one place in Saratoga that you really love?
It's hard to say one place. I mean, we love the Springwater Bed and Breakfast is the name of the place we stay, and I think we were one of the first people to stay there because they had just opened. So they always remind us of that, and it's a great cozy place, and we just enjoy walking the strip, checking out different restaurants. We've been to a different restaurant every time we've gone up, and really just kind of just turning our brains off and relaxing.
Yeah, Saratoga is a beautiful little town.
There's not one specific thing up there that we look forward to. It's just the entire trip. So
right.
Soon.
and I would get in trouble if I didn't ask you this, because I was just hanging out with Chris White yesterday,
Yeah.
and he said, make sure you ask Darren about why he loves wrapping boats so much, or how he wraps boats. I forgot exactly how he said, but he said to ask.
He's got to bust my chops, doesn't he? Hey, listen, we'll wrap it. We'll wrap it.
But he said, but it's got to be at White's Marina.
Got to be at White's, or they got to be brought to my shop.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome. That's actually how I figured out that you do boats.
Yeah, well, exactly. And a quick note on that too. You know, vehicles, trucks, box trucks, trailers, boats. Obviously, we do walls. We can do. It sounds crazy, but we can do countertops and cabinets. I mean, there's sky's the limit. Hallways and floor. There's even floor graphics. There's the sky's the limit. There's a vinyl for everything. But at the same token, we're still limited on what we do because we can only do so much. So
right.
You know, we're not a huge company. You know, there's 4 of us, so we got to stay within reason. But there's so much we offer. You can check us out on Instagram and at DB Graphics. Facebook is at DB Graphics and Wraps. We're working on a new website, which would be wrappedbydb.com. It's not live, but it will be. And or just give us a call at 845-849-2847.
Cool. Yeah, and I got to give it one more shout out, your social media. I really love your Instagram page because it's just all cars, and it's like all different things that you wrap, of course. But I love seeing all the different graphics that you do. They're always different. They're always cool. They're always fun and exciting.
And that's the fun thing about it, Michael, is like when I tell people it's obviously my job, it's my career, but I love coming to work because every day it's something new. I mean, yeah, we might be lettering another van, but it's a different design. It's always something different here, which is fun. And it keeps everyone going, I think,
Yeah. And I mean, if you haven't seen it, at the Caboose over up in Highland, he did a really, really great job on that one. That one's really cool. Funky stuff going on there. It's really cool, and I love it.
Yeah, she was a fun woman to work with. Great people. Like I said, I got great customers. They're amazing.
Yeah, no, they are awesome. Well, this has been the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. My guest today has been Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics. Darren, before we wrap, I know you just gave a little bit of your final thoughts, but is there any other last messages or final thoughts that you would like to share with everyone?
Just be thankful. Wake up every day, right? That's it.
That's right.
Live every
I love
day.
that. And
the last.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to you and to your quote for you to add to everything is follow your passion, because that's what you did. You're never too young or too old to follow your passion, and that's what you did.
And don't be afraid to fail. I tell people all the time, you have to fail. You have to know. It just helps you to grow and improve. You have to fail. You can't fail once and give up. You got to keep going.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Darren. You're welcome. This has been the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. My guest today has been Darren Bo, owner of DB Graphics in Poughkeepsie, New York, where he'll wrap just about anything. Of course, you're going to see a lot of his wrapped cars. You'll see a lot of his wrapped vans and trucks and all that stuff. But he also goes to boats, signs, box trucks, anything you can think of. Give them a call. Shoot them a message on Instagram or wherever you can find them. Find out, and they'll help you. They'll help you find a way as to whether they can wrap it or not. And in fact, also help you in the design process. So there's a lot that goes into this, more than just wrapping. There's a whole process that goes into it. Give Darren a call. Give his team a call. Find out what they can do for you today. Before we wrap up the show, I do want to just acknowledge what is happening in our world today. Darren and I spoke about it just a little bit, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that my show is a platform to promote the amazing people in our communities, and it's going to continue to do so, to shine a light on the positive people and the actions they take to help each other. Therefore, I would like to acknowledge several communities that have taken positive actions today. From my knowledge, Middletown, New Paltz, Poughkeepsie all had peaceful, nonviolent protests. Organizers met with city, town, and county officials in order to make this happen, and they accomplished their mission and had positive outcomes from it. This show will continue to shine a light on positivity and the amazing people in our communities, no matter their race, gender, politics, or any other perceived differences. I'd also just like to give a quick update on Forgotten Children of Haiti's fundraiser, Mass for the Front Line. Thanks to all of our generous supporters and donors, we were able to accomplish and exceed our mission of raising $5,000. And then, of course, today's show has been sponsored by the Mindful Living Coaching Program. In this program, Matt Alfonso helps you gain clarity, live present, and improve your self-love. This program is designed to help you shift your mindset and make long-lasting changes. Please message at MattAlfonso1 on Instagram and use promo code ShiningLight to receive a significant discount. That's Matt Alfonso and the number 1. And this show has also been sponsored by HV Gold Rewards, the largest Facebook networking group in the Hudson Valley. Visit hvgoldrewards.com to buy your discount, your $10 discount card. Enter promo code FCH, and they'll donate $8 to our fundraiser. This show with Darren here today will replay on my Facebook page at 6 o'clock, and that's at Michael Esposito, Inc. And then tune in tomorrow where my guest, Joe Demaio of Pharmacan, will share how medical marijuana is processed while providing us a better understanding of the medical marijuana industry. That's tomorrow at 10 on the Shining Light Video Podcast Show. Darren, once again, I want to thank you. And I've seen all the comments in here, and I have to thank all of our commenters here. You've had so many thumbs up. You've had so many people mention that they love you and love your work. And in fact, you had one person say, if I'm on this live right now, do I get a discount? So,
of course. Of course.
Darren, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's really a privilege to have you here today.
And keep doing what you're doing. We love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Well, all right, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Stay happy and stay healthy.
Take care, everyone.